Today's episode is brought to you by Audible. Last week, I started listening to my third audiobook selection, Shook One by Charlemagne the God. The book is about confronting mental health in the Black community, specifically focusing on the effects of anxiety. Now, I am not an avid listener of The Breakfast Club, so it took me a while to get used to listening to Charlemagne's voice for such a long period of time, but the book is actually pretty good so far, and so I definitely recommend it. Right now, Audible is offering my listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. You can use your free offer to download Shook One or any of the thousands of titles available on Audible right now. And make sure you let me know what you think, okay? Just go to audibletrial.com/unicorns talk to get started today. Welcome to Unicorns Talk Podcast, your weekly girl talk about Black women, our healing, and manifestation. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, your life enhancement coach, and together we're going to live, laugh, and learn to love all of life's little messes. While I am a licensed clinician, please keep in mind that this show is not a substitute for your own relationship with a mental health provider. Let's go. Hey y'all, welcome to episode 59 of Unicorns Talk Podcast. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, and as usual, I'm super excited to be here with y'all today. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in to last week's episode. I got a lot of really good feedback about it. My friend Trey Payadu was my guest on the show. We talked about the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries, and everybody, he said he was nervous, but he didn't sound nervous. I thought he did a really great job, and you all gave him some really positive feedback and everything like that. So I appreciate that. Thank y'all for listening. This week has been a really good week for me, actually. I attended on Tuesday, I attended the Urban League of Broward County YP, which is Young Professionals. They have their Join Week this week. So all over the country, Urban League YP is doing Join Week. And I was asked to participate on a panel discussion for an event that they had on Tuesday night. And we talked about what we need as young professionals. You know, it was a real conversation about the struggles that we face in being young professionals, young Black professionals, trying to figure it out, and whether that's figuring out in our business, in our marriages, in our relationships, in our finances, you know, in our careers, whatever it is. And so I thoroughly enjoyed participating in that event and being a panelist for that event. It went really well. It lasted way longer than I thought it was going to last. I'm not going to lie. But I guess when you're having good conversation, you don't always realize like when the time is moving and passing and everything like that, you know? So that was on Tuesday. And then last night, on Thursday, I actually also attended an event because y'all know I'm trying to get settled down here in the South Florida area. I told y'all I'm looking for a job and things like that, and just really, you know, ready to settle my life down. Well, as much as I can, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't no regular chick. So I'm trying to settle my life down as much as I can, and just kind of stabilize a little bit. I've been feeling like I've been up in the air, you know what I'm saying? And so with all the traveling and everything, so I'm just kind of ready to settle down. So I also attended one of their events on Thursday night. They had a Games and Chill event, and it was really good. It was at an event in Miramar, Florida, called the Chill Spot. It is a Black-owned event. And it was good. You know, the little spot, I ain't gonna lie, they you know, was a little slow to start, you know what I'm saying? The spot was, not the event. But once they got everything on track, they got everything up and running, then I feel like, you know, like they did a really good job and everything like that. So thank you so much to the Urban League of Broward County YP network for, you know, extending the invitation for me to participate in the panel discussion, and for creating a space for young professionals, young Black professionals, to be able to come together and just kind of exist and find camaraderie with each other. It's important for us to have those kind of spaces. And so I'm always excited to be able to be in that realm and in that world. So I appreciate that, you know. I'm also super excited to announce a collaboration with Black Married Fly podcast. Shout out to Treb and Candace for their brand new website, blackmarriedfly.com. The name of the segment that I'll be doing with them for this collaboration is called Heart to Heart with Latrice Sampson Richards. And it's going to be the bomb dot fucking com. Like, I'm really excited about it. Heart to Heart is a bi-monthly video segment on blackmarriedfly.com where we really are going to discuss the skills that are necessary in order to be able to participate in a healthy relationship. And I could not be more excited and more blessed and really, I think, honored is the word that I'm really actually looking for. That Treb and Candace trust me with their audience. They trust me with the relationships of the people that they are serving. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be real hot. So to celebrate the launch of blackmarriedfly.com and the Heart to Heart with Latrice Sampson Richards segment on blackmarriedfly.com, we are going to be giving away one free 60-minute heart to heart session. Now, the heart to heart session is a 60-minute coaching session with myself. And we're going to talk about communication. We're going to talk about really whatever skill sets you need in order to address the mental and emotional blocks that are preventing you from participating in healthy relationships. So if you're a couple and you win and you want to utilize that session to clear up some communication within your relationship, we can do that. If you're single but looking to be a part of a couple and you want to use that session to talk about the mental and emotional blocks that are stopping you or preventing you from being able to participate in a healthy relationship, we can do that. It's really whatever you need to talk about, and you have 60 whole minutes to do that. It's going to be awesome and amazing, and I'm super duper excited about it. It's super easy for you to enter for a chance to win. All you have to do is go to my website, latricesampsonrichards.com /heart to heart. That's heart with the number 2 heart. Okay. And you need to sign up for my newsletter so you could be in the know about all of the things that I have going on. And then you head on over to blackmarriedfly.com /heart to heart. Okay, that's 2, the number 2, and sign up for their newsletter so that you can know when the Heart to Heart segment comes out. Okay, that's all you got to do. You sign up for my newsletter, sign up for their newsletter, and you are entered for a chance to win a free 60-minute session with yours truly for a Heart to Heart session to discuss whatever it is you need to discuss. We're going to have us a heart to heart. Okay, we're going to talk about some things. We're going to clear some things up. We're going to move some things around. All right. If you haven't already, make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you catch your podcast. Let me know that you're listening by using the hashtag Unicorns Talk Pod across all of your social media outlets, and share it in your stories and on your timeline. It's extremely helpful to me and for the show when you share me with your people. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate it so very, very much. So please make sure you keep on doing that, keep on keeping on and all that good stuff. I appreciate all of the love and all of the support. So head on over to Apple Podcasts and make sure you subscribe. All right. Okay. Jussie Smollet reported that he was brutally attacked on January 29th by 2 men outside of Lowe's Hotel in Chicago. And so I know that by now, every podcast, radio, and television show host in America has shared their thoughts on the topic. And I've listened to a few of those thoughts, but to be honest, I really wasn't sure how to approach this topic as a hetero, natural born woman. I mean, shit, look, I don't even know if it's okay for me to say or to call myself a natural born woman. Like, the lines around what's acceptable and what's not acceptable when talking about or speaking about an issue that directly impacts a marginalized community, when you are not a member of that community, it gets more and more blurry every day. But what I do know, though, is that some of the people that mean the most to me in this life were personally affected by this event. And so, listen, being Black in America is a risk in and of itself. You know what I'm saying? Like just walking around in this Black skin, it is a risk in America. But being Black and gay, that's a whole other level of risk, you know? And so, whether or not the alleged happenings of the attack are genuine, the hatred toward the Black LGBTQ plus community, it's very real. And it scares me to even think about somebody that I love being hurt either mentally, physically, or emotionally simply for living their truth. And so this really got me thinking about the emotion of hatred, you know, and the mental processes that allow it to happen. So today's topic is the psychology of hate. And so we'll be talking about why humans hate and how to free yourself from hatred of others or hatred of yourself. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Hate is defined as a deeply intense and passionate dislike for someone or something. All right. And so hate can be comprised of a mixed bag of emotions, to be honest. Hate is not a singular emotion, it's a mixture of different emotions depending on the circumstances. Hate can involve some anger, it can involve some disgust, embarrassment, hurt, guilt, shame. Okay, so any of those other emotions can be a part of hate, but there will always be fear in the mix. Okay, and so what I ask myself, and I guess the question that we're posing today, or that I'm posing today, is why do human beings hate? Like, really, for real, for real. Like, what is it about hate? Because we see it so, across so many different genres, across so many different socioeconomic status, like within cultures, outside of cultures. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, there is hatred everywhere that you look. And it's not anything that's new. Okay. And so in asking myself this question, why do humans hate? I think we really have to go back to like early man and the reality that hate began as a survival tactic. We had to learn how to hate things that had the potential to harm us. Way back when we ain't had no fire and shit like that, like we had to hate things that had the potential to end our lives or the potential to cause us significant bodily harm. Okay. It was a matter of survival, right? We also learned to hate things that made us different from the rest of the pack, because when you run the risk of being isolated, then your chances of survival drop significantly, because during that period of time, we all we got. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, for real. Like people say that shit now, but back in the day, it really was we all we got. If you out there by yourself or on your own, your chances of survival significantly decrease. Okay. So we learned how to hate things collectively as a group for the betterment of the group in as a whole, or as a whole. Okay. And so over time, as we have really begun to stabilize our civilization, I guess, like really secure shit, like we can eat, we can, bathe, we can find shelter and things like that. Like because we have the majority of our basic needs pretty much covered, this survival tactic has really kind of morphed into something that's much more cynical, but a lot of it still holds the same roots. Okay. And so a couple of the reasons why human beings hate outside of the need for survival is a fear of self. Okay. Well, one of the reasons why human beings hate is because there's a fear of self. A lot of times we hate the things that we see in somebody else, or things that are of ourselves that we see in them. We see something in them that we don't like or understand about ourselves. This is called projection. But instead of admitting these things and the fact that these things exist within us, we reject those things, and then we try to admonish anybody who openly accepts it in themselves. And this is not just related to sexuality. People have hate for all different kinds of reasons. People hate other people because of their body type, their body image. I'm a plus size woman. If you think about in the plus size community, there's a lot of plus size women who get upset when they see another plus size woman feel comfortable in her body. You know what I'm saying? And that's because you don't feel comfortable in your body. So hatred around body type, hatred around lifestyle, hatred around life satisfaction. Hello, somebody. Everybody knows somebody that just hates somebody just because they're happy. Just because they're happy with their life. I actually had somebody tell me one time, because it only happened one time, but I actually had somebody say to me that I must be fake because it ain't nobody that's that happy. Now, she was going through her own trial at that time, and I knew that she was dealing with some things. So I didn't really, feed into it or nothing like that. But how you going to hate me or be mad at me? You don't like me because I'm happy with my life. And you're not. How dare you be happy with your life? You get what I'm saying? People can hate other people because they've attained goals that I've been trying to attain, and I ain't been able to attain this goal. Who you think you are? Right? People hate other people because of cultural differences, because of skill set differences, right? Just for that general disposition. So there's all different kinds of reasons why we hate people, because we see those things, the things that we hate about ourselves, we see those things in those people. And I think it reminds us of our own inadequacies. It does. And the fear of the reality of those inadequacies, because we're not in a place where we can accept those things and really begin to heal them. It takes more work. It takes more effort. It takes way more for me to dig in deep and acknowledge what the fuck is wrong with me when I could just look at you and tell you what the fuck is wrong with you. Right? So fear of ourselves, fear of the reality of who we are, and seeing that being shown to us like a mirror in other people, or the fear of ourselves in terms of the reality of who we're not and the things that are missing from our lives. Okay? Another reason why people hate is fear of others. Now, what I mean by this, because I feel like at first glance, that kind of sounds like, well, duh, bitch, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? Well, hopefully you'll understand it to be differently. Okay? We fear that which is different from us, which really feeds back into our primal survival tactics. Remember, we talked about that, right? We fear that which is different from us. We fear it because we don't understand it, because we don't have any experience with it. If it's different, it must be bad, right? It must be bad. I think it's bred out of that survival need, but it has turned into something so much more than that. If you're not exactly like me, if you don't think exactly the way that I think, if you don't live exactly the way that I live, if you don't worship exactly the way I think you should worship, then I hate you. Something must be wrong with you, and you must be bad for me. Not maybe I can learn from this person. What can you teach me about the things that I don't know? But bad, unknown is bad. I don't know what you are. I don't understand what you are. And so you must be bad. Right? But it's mostly, like I said, because we don't understand it. Okay? And then there's also the fear of isolation. Okay, which again we touched on in terms of the survival tactics, right? This fear of isolation, but it really kind of goes, I think, to the next level nowadays. Like before, it was a fear of isolation for the sake of safety and survival. Now it's a fear of isolation more so for social reasons than anything else, right? It's a basic human need for belonging, for love and belonging. We need to feel connected to each other. And anybody who tells you otherwise is lying to you. They've probably tried to convince themselves that they don't need nobody. And that's more than likely because they ain't never had nobody to need. Every time they needed somebody, every time they leaned on somebody, they got slapped in the face. The shit fell through. And so they've put a lot of effort into, convincing themselves that they don't need anybody, but everybody needs people. We need to belong to something bigger than ourselves. And so banding together against a common enemy, it creates a camaraderie of sorts, especially when you would otherwise be the outcast, right? So when you are struggling to find your place, when you are struggling to really be comfortable in your own skin and find your place and find your people and your space of belonging, then you can always connect with people around a common enemy, even if you have nothing else in common. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Even if it's not really my enemy for real. I just want the friend, right? I just want the friend. So whatever I got to do to get the friend, then fuck it. If I got to be an enemy of somebody to get the friend, then that's what I'm going to do, right? It's better than being alone. It's better than being by myself, right? And culturally speaking, celebrating certain negative cultural norms allows people to find a way to be a part of the group, right? And it keeps them from being the outcasts by outcasting others. If I fuck over you with them, then maybe they're not going to pay enough attention to fuck over me. You get what I'm saying? That's how people who used to be bullied become the bully. If you can't beat them, join them, right? Fear of isolation. We want so badly to be a part of something that we will literally do anything to do so. Just to belong. It's a basic human need, but there are better ways to receive that. All right? Because I firmly believe that there is somebody for everybody. You just have to be willing to stand in who you are and find your people. Which takes us to, so how do we overcome hatred, right? How do you overcome hatred? Well, like I said before, hate is rooted in fear, okay? Hate is rooted in fear. And fear, it's a product of the unknown. So the best way to combat fear then is with information. All right? And so you need to gather information. You need to gather information about yourself, gather information about others, gather information about circumstances and about the world around you. All of this information about thoughts and feelings and experiences and what people are going through and how do you really feel about yourself and what's most important to you? What is your value system? Gather that information, right? Because when it comes to hatred, this information, once you get this information, it leads to and allows you to be able to have compassion. And that's the real kryptonite when it comes to hatred. It's compassion and empathy, right? And it allows you to have compassion and empathy for yourself, for others, for your circumstances and the circumstances of others, and for the world around you. Okay? It don't mean don't protect yourself. I'm not saying don't protect yourself. I'm not saying, just lead with love and, just smile and turn the other cheek and all of that, because the reality is that hatred is real. And there are a lot of people out here that are so desperate to be something more or something different than what they are, that they, the boundaries and shit is all kinds of fucked up. So you got to make sure that you're protecting yourself out here in these streets. Don't be just out here doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like not paying attention to people, not being aware of your surroundings, none of that. You definitely need to be prepared to protect yourself at all times. But what I am also saying is don't take it personally. If you are on the receiving end of that hatred, that's not about you. And you have to remind yourself of that, no matter where the hatred stems from. If it's hatred because of your sexuality, if it's hatred because of the tone of your skin, if it's hatred because of your gender, if it's hatred because of your age, if it's hatred because of the fact that you're breathing, don't fucking matter. Whatever the hatred is directed toward you about, that ain't got nothing to do with you. So when I say don't take it personal, I mean allow people to take responsibility for what is theirs. Don't allow their insecurities and their hatred and their need for belonging to convince you that you are less than who you really are. Because sometimes, unfortunately, we internalize these things, the negative things that people say about us, the negative feelings that people throw at us and project onto us. Don't take that on. That's not about you. Okay? That's not about you. And I know that it's difficult because you are the target. You are on the receiving end of it, of all of the hatred and the bigotry and the foolishness and the homophobia. And I mean, just like all of the dumb shit, you know what I'm saying? Like you're on the receiving end of it. And it sucks that you have to walk around with your guard up virtually all motherfucking day. Like nobody should have to do that. It's not fair. I get that. I understand that. But it's the reality of your situation. And yes, people need to learn how to handle their shit. And yes, hatred needs to be a thing of the past. But you also need to be safe, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. And we can say all day what should and shouldn't be. But at the end of the day, we need to deal with the reality of things. And the reality is that even though this is not your cross to bear, it is something that you have to deal with. And you need to fortify yourself mentally so that you can be prepared if you ever need to be physically. Hello, somebody. Okay? And that's what it is. Don't allow that to define who you are and cause you to live your life in the darkness. Don't shrivel yourself up because other people can't handle your full glory and your full shine. Don't pretend to be something that you're not to make other people comfortable. Okay? Because the only way that they're going to get comfortable is for them to have information about who you are. They need to see you in your fullness. And if they don't want to be around you in your fullness, that's their motherfucking business. They can choose to not be around you. Okay? So that's it. That's what I got for y'all today. In terms of our topic, if you are a member of the LGBTQ plus community, let me know, if you've ever experienced hatred around being black, around being black and queer. Talk to me. I want to know what your experiences have been like. Like I said, some of my favorite people in the world, like not just in the whole world, in my whole world, I fear. I fear for them. I do. And the idea that anybody could just make them feel less than or could not see the reality of the awesomeness of who they are, it pisses me off. But it scares me that in Trump's America, people are so bold to take physical action against people because they're different from what they feel the norm should be. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. So let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know how you felt about this message. I mean, I want to know what your experiences were like dealing with hatred and things like that. And, talk back. Let me know what's going on. All right. All right. Coming up next is High Five. This episode of Unicorns Talk Podcast is also brought to you by theblackunicornproject.com. The Black Unicorn Project is an online community center dedicated to the healing and advancement of Black culture and well-being. Go to theblackunicornproject.com to check out our take on Black music, finance, current events, and wellness around the world. That's theblackunicornproject.com for a new take on a familiar atmosphere. This week's high five goes to Beth Powell. So I was on essence.com and I read an article from January 18th, I believe it was, about Beth Powell, who is a 41-year-old pilot for American Airlines. Now, Beth is from St. Mary, Jamaica. So woot woot to all my JA people out there. Y'all know my husband Jamaican or whatever. But anyway, Beth is one of the very few Black female pilots in the world, pretty much. Well, we're going to say specifically in America, because according to the article, there's only like 2.7% of pilots in America that are Black women. And Beth has worked her way up over the years to be at the very top of that totem pole. And so Beth began flying when she was 17 years old. She became a commercial pilot at the age of 21. And, she said that she realized in her training program, while she was training to become a commercial pilot, she realized that this was about more than just getting a pilot license. Like, she realized that this was not just for her, but for all of those young ladies that were going to come behind her. And so Beth has been giving back to her community. She's trying to increase awareness of availability within the Black community, specifically to other Black women, to let them know, and young Black girls, to let them know that they can be an airline pilot. You know what I'm saying? I just think that that's so freaking awesome and amazing, because I think we need to definitely share with our children that there's more than just being a teacher, a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Like, they need to know all of the different options that they have available to them. And so I love the fact that somebody in an industry that is not typically considered to be for us, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not typically considered to be something that we are a part of, is reaching back. Not only has she made strides, but she's reaching back. She actually has started a scholarship program with a program called Sisters of the Skies to try to give young sisters, young Black and brown sisters, an opportunity to be able to go to flight school. And so I just thought that that was really freaking awesome and amazing. And this is the first full week of Black History Month, and I just felt like, I'm always celebrating Black people. I don't need a month to celebrate Black people, but I just want to give a high five to Beth just for being freaking awesome, and for never forgetting that you have a responsibility to reach back to the people who are not as fortunate as you, or the people who was in the same spot you was at some point in time. You know what I'm saying? And for being a fucking pilot, like, that's pretty awesome and cool. So high five to Beth Powell for just being an amazing role model. I hope I get to get on her flight. Well, I don't really like American Airlines though. I ain't gonna lie. They seats too small and I got too much booty for that. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit is not comfortable for me. Anyway, today's reality check goes to Robert Gaspy. Robert Gaspy is B. Smith's husband. Now, if you remember back in the 90s and stuff like that, I think really like the 80s and the 90s, but I remember her from the 90s because I was actually born in the 80s. B. Smith was often called like the Black Martha Stewart. She was a model and then she turned into like just this, home and housewares kind of maven. Like she was fucking amazing. She had a TV show. She did everything. B. Smith and Robert have been married for 29 years. And in 2014, they announced that she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And so I don't know if you all have ever come into contact or had an experience of watching a loved one go through Alzheimer's, but I have, and I've seen it happen twice. Once up close and personal, and then the second time was a little bit further removed in terms of not being there on a regular, consistent basis. But let me tell you, it's hard, and I couldn't imagine being the spouse of someone who can't even remember your name. You know what I'm saying? Can't remember their own name, let alone remember your name. Can't do basic things for themselves, like bathe themselves and use the bathroom, but if you've never experienced it, it's not something that I wish on anyone. It's a difficult place to be in, to be the caregiver. And I wasn't even a primary caregiver. I watched my mother take care of her mother for several years before she passed as her Alzheimer's, progressed. And it's a difficult thing to witness. So I could only imagine what it's like to be the spouse of someone and to be their caregiver and acting as their caregiver when this is your spouse and the person that you love the most in the world. And so last week, Robert decided to let us know that he has a live-in girlfriend. Now, the way I feel about, because Black Twitter and all that went the fuck off. The way I feel about it is, people always gonna have something to say. Like whenever you're on the outside looking in, you can always talk about what you would and wouldn't do in a situation, but you never know until you're in that situation. And it's easy to pass judgment from the outside looking in, but you just don't know. And I think we cannot speak on things that we do not understand. So there's a lot of people who are, shaming this man for seeking outside companionship. And to those people, I say, go sit the fuck down, because you don't know what it's like to have a spouse that does not know who you are. Obviously, like even in the videos that we saw and things like that, B. Smith, she don't even know who she is half the time. So she cannot consent to having sexual intercourse. She cannot, consent to being in a relationship with this man the way that he once knew her in the relationship, right? And so I think it wouldn't be, and I don't think it would be ethical or, appropriate for him to force himself on her, because when someone is in the throes of Alzheimer's, there's a lot of fear in that place. Could you imagine not knowing, but then knowing that you don't know, like having an awareness that you're not aware? You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. Like it's insane, and it's a very fearful place to be in. And so the fact that he has sought outside companionship, I honestly don't have a problem with that. I think the problem for me though, okay, is that I feel like why he felt like he needed to tell us that. You know what I'm saying? Like why, and he's going on like this tour, and I think they're doing like Dr. Oz or something like that. Like he's going on all of these shows, and he did this article about it and all kind of stuff like that, where he's kind of flaunting this. I feel like not everything needs to be shared. Like my brand is authenticity. And so I share with y'all when I'm up, I share with y'all when I'm down. I share things with y'all, but there are certain things that I keep for into myself. Like, that's just the reality. That's any celebrity. I mean, I'm not a celebrity, but I'm just saying, like, that's any celebrity. That's anybody that's in the public eye in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You don't share everything with everybody. And so I don't understand why he felt the need to open up this part of his marriage to the world. It just seemed like he a little thirsty to me. And that's the part that's driving me. Like, that's the part that's really bothering me. Like, I don't blame you and I don't hold it against you for wanting and needing that companionship and for doing what you got to do to seek out that companionship because of the mental state of your wife. Like, I get that. I understand that. But all this extra shit, like, I just feel like you need to go sit down, Robert. You need to go have a seat. What is going on with the Roberts? Like, I don't understand what's going on with the Roberts. You know, tell the Roberts to have several seats. Go sit down. You know, so my reality check is for those of you who feel like this man should just be desolate and lonely and live a life of no connection until either he die or his wife die, go have several seats, because reality check is you don't know what it's like until you have experienced it. And I have never experienced being the spouse of someone with Alzheimer's disease, but I have been the one to experience and witness Alzheimer's as it progresses, and to have somebody that you love look in your face and not know who you are. I've been there, and I that's a horrible place to be. Okay, so reserve your judgment for somebody who gives a shit. Mind your business. Let that man live his life. And to Robert, go sit down somewhere and live your life. What are you doing? I don't understand. Go sit down. Live your life, Robert. Okay, live your life. All right. Okay. I just want to give a few shout outs. Definitely want to give a shout out to Black Married Fly podcast. Hey, Trev. Hey, Candace. Black Married Fly is officially back, like full flats on a Cadillac. I'm so excited. I caught up on their episodes last week, and y'all, they are so good. They talked about like why they needed to take the hiatus and things like that. And what we can expect from them moving forward. If you have not listened to Black Married Fly podcast, you need to make sure you do yourself a favor. I just really freaking love those two people, like for real. Like, they are genuine, they are authentic, and they genuinely love each other, and I love being surrounded by people like that. So they're back from their break and they're doing bigger and better things. So shout out to Black Married Fly. And also don't forget to sign up for your chance to win a free 60-minute heart-to-heart session with yours truly, courtesy of blackmarriedfly.com. Just head on over to latricesampsonrichards.com/heart-to-heart. That's HEART, the number 2, HEART, and sign up for my newsletter, and then go to blackmarriedfly.com/heart-to-heart, same thing, and sign up for their newsletter for your chance to win. The winners are going to be announced on February 14th, and I'm rooting for everybody black. You dig? I also want to give a shout out to my boo-boo. Hey, Jaden Hollywood of Unapologetic Podcast. I just wanted to say hey, because Jaden has definitely been a beacon of light for me in my life. And we are developing a really strong connection with each other, and I'm excited about that. So shout out to Jaden. I also want to give a shout out to Candace Brooks from the Urban League of Broward County Young Professionals Network. Thank you so much, Candace, for reaching out to me to participate in the panel discussion during Join Week. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to working on many more things with you you all. If you're interested in having me to come and speak at your event, just give me shoot me an email at support@latricesampsonrichards.com and let me know the details, and we could try to get that worked out, okay? Make sure you join my free Facebook group, Trust Village, a safe space for healing and manifestation. Trust Village is doing big things, and I'm excited about it. And make sure you follow me on all of the social medias, Facebook and Instagram, at Latrice Sampson Richards. That's it. That's all I got for y'all today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love y'all, and I appreciate y'all. And until next time, be well. Bye, y'all.